You're plugged into the Wellness Broadcast. This show is not intended to replace medical advice by a licensed physician. Hey, it's Frank Sardella. Several decades ago, a chiropractor saved my life, not with treatment, but by making me more self-aware, showing me it's possible to control my own well-being. Now I'm here to pay it forward and help you get yours. And here's what I got today. Hey there, Frank Sardella here, a chiropractic advocate and host of The Wellness Broadcast. You may also know me as the host of Will Work for Patients, the premier podcast created in 2014. Two chiropractors and wellness professionals. I have been podcasting for a number of years, and I've been a podcast producer for a number of years as well with Broadcast Wellness Productions and Podcast Network. I have been producing podcasts for chiropractors and wellness professionals in addition to, over the last 25 years, doing screenings. I've screened thousands of people, sending them to chiropractors for day one visits, reports of findings, and so on. I've done some pivotal research and made some major breakthroughs in the area of first contact type enlightenment to people, no matter the channel. My specialty, however, is face-to-face. So through talks and screenings over those years, I have done the research. I'm still in the trenches to this day. I go out several times a week on the corporate scene in Manhattan, screening people, keeping my finger on the pulse, reading people, their reactions, noting trends that are happening. I've been coaching chiropractors and their staffs for a long time to train them on my lifetime patient ladder, 17 states of mind that I've discovered that are sequential. The center of which is the exact right state of mind to have someone in, to get them to book that first appointment with you, but to do three things: to show up, know exactly why they're coming, and be very interested in the results of that visit. My company, Screening Experts, is going through an identity shift. I'm going to be honest with you, the word screenings has become a four-letter word in this profession, but I have gotten back to my roots, and that's the point of this video. I want to tell you about this new thing I'm doing called the Wellness Broadcast. And it's very exciting for me because it's gotten me back to what my original purpose was. So the purpose of this video is not to sell you on any program. I've done a complete 180 on the profession, on what I'm doing, and on you. And it's very important that I inform you on what the new terms are and the support that I actually need from you that will support you in return, because I want to take this thing global. My original purpose was to take it global. It's just that at the time, the various media channels did not exist, and they do now in a big way. So it's time to really shift this thing into high gear. So that's a little bit about my background. If you have listened to any of my content online, or you followed me on social media, or you've had the chance to work with me, you already know this about me. But if you don't, I'm a miracle chiropractic success story. A chiropractor saved my life about 25 years ago, and I have been advocating the profession ever since in various ways, culminating in what's happening today. And there's a lot of big things happening, and I had a realization recently of what I actually need to do to take this thing not to the next level, but to several levels above where we are. And this is your chance to really get involved on a global scale with your local contribution to your own community. This in turn will only help you grow your clinic and expand into your community in ways you've never dreamed of doing, while at the same time being an integral part of a global growth campaign. And I have positioned myself to be the unifying factor there. So this is where I'm going to need your help. So let me tell you a little bit about the Wellness Broadcast. My true advocacy process, formerly known as the true screening process, is actually a process that I've developed after doing thousands of screenings on thousands of people. It's not a script. It's a process that you need to take people through to get them to shift in mindsets up this lifetime patient ladder, 17 states of mind that I discovered that go all the way from complete oblivion all the way up to patients who live a wellness lifestyle, who desire to help others do the same, much like I did, much like you did. And this true advocacy process actually takes the person through the initial steps of that ladder to get them into the prime state of mind where they need to be to actually arrive for that first visit, to know exactly why they're coming and to be interested in what they're about to find out. That is what I'm expert in. But what you must understand is, although my forte has been face-to-face live screening activity and lectures, this can be done in any first contact interaction by you, an associate, a CA, any type of wellness professional or any type of patient or client. This is a process that can be learned much simpler than we've given it credit for. I'm now taking it several levels above where it was. And that culminated in what's called the Wellness Broadcast. Broadcast Wellness, first of all, is a company started in 2017 by me. It was a natural offshoot originally of Screening Experts. And that offshoot quickly became the umbrella company because I looked at it and I said, well, Screening Experts and the whole screening thing or advocacy thing really comes under the umbrella of broadcasting wellness far and wide. So Broadcast Wellness became the umbrella company. So I was doing podcast production. It actually housed the screening services I was doing, the screening coaching I was doing, the learning, the one-day seminars, the webinars, the masterclass programs, the mini masterclasses, all these various things that I have that are designed to help you grow your clinic in various ways that plug in custom to what you're attempting to do in your area. These are the types of things that fell under the umbrella of broadcast wellness. And if you think about it, even if you're advertising on Facebook, that's broadcasting wellness. Anything that you do that results in a first contact with somebody, even if it results in a cold call into your office that your CA is going to be fielding, this is a first contact scenario, and it's very important that you understand the nature of that first contact is a lot more delicate than we've given it credit for. And what we've been doing for years in the profession, myself included, is taking people too far beyond where we need them to be to make that decision to come to us and do those three things. Show up for said appointment, know exactly why they're coming, and be interested in what they're about to find out during that visit. So that's what the program is about in brief. That's what Broadcast Wellness is. The Wellness Broadcast is a natural offshoot. I did a little soul searching recently, and I came up to a very profound conclusion. I had an aha moment. I'm meeting thousands of people a year and screening them and getting them to come to chiropractic offices. And I realized that out of everything that I'm doing right now, all the coaching, everything is completely fulfilling. When I get to work with a doctor and staff and they have breakthroughs and they're all of a sudden able to get results where they weren't, absolutely this makes me happy. But what makes me the happiest is when I'm on the front lines talking to people and the dance that gets done with each singular person. I could do this on into infinity, one on one on one on one. Just continue to do it, and I'm so happy when I make that mindset shift. But mostly, the breakthroughs in the last couple of years have been that light bulbs are going off with people. And when I see that light bulb actually go off and the person goes, yeah, these are the results that I've been getting. I'm sure you're illuminating many light bulbs in your report of findings and in your progressive patient education to get patients into corrective and maintenance care and to become lifetime patients and to refer others. But I'm talking about the initial light bulb that needs to go off that most of us have been ignoring, and we've just been taking what I call the cream off the top, the people who are just automatically ready. There's a percentage of the public who are going to be automatically ready, and I've discovered that most of us have just been going after them. And I found out average 10% of the public. And if you can get to that 10%, you can have a booming practice just on that 10%. But I wanted the 90. I wanted that other 90. So I went after that, and the results have been astounding with what I found out, and that's what I've been teaching. But out of all the contexts in which I apply this, that face-to-face screening scenario where I get somebody convinced, I get the light bulb to go off, they make the appointment, then they show up and they get well, that's what I like the most. So this soul-searching aha epiphany that occurred was what my basic purpose was for being in this profession. Now, I've had my ups and downs over 25 years. I've had my struggles, and is this the right profession for me to be in? And I kept reassuring myself, yes, this is your purpose because a chiropractor saved your life, and I kept telling myself that. And if you listen to Will Work for Patients, you can go to episode 1. It's a 30-minute episode of me talking about my story. The show didn't even have a theme song yet. It was just a half-an-hour recording of me telling my story on how I got my life saved by chiropractic. And forward from there, In however many episodes are after that, I've had guests on there and we've talked about inspiration and marketing and practice expansion and all those things, which is all still very valid, and I am going to keep Will Work for Patients going. But what I realized is I kept telling myself that story as a justification for continuing to do it the way I've been doing it. And that's going out and doing representation for chiropractors, but for the most part, teaching my program to chiropractors. Now, those are still things I'm going to be doing. That's not going to change under the Broadcast Wellness umbrella, and it has not. For the last 2 years, I've been operating Broadcast Wellness. But here's the key difference. What I realized is that every time I would write down, it was on my website and everything, my mission statement, my vision, it was to help chiropractors expand their clinics into their communities. And I looked at that and instantly I knew it was wrong. And I realized, now this is the messed up part, and I need you to stay with me because it's going to sound messed up, but it's really not, because it's going to work to your advantage. So stick with me here. But I realized that I don't want to help you. That's not what I got into this for. It's to help you expand your clinic. Let me explain what I mean. And again, give me this chance because I think you're going to like what I have to say. Back in 1990 something, I was immersing myself in this profession, learning how to advocate chiropractic in every way possible, interacting with people. I was screening, I was doing lectures, I was doing all types of practice marketing, reactivation, everything from newsletters to yellow page ads at the time. And I'm bringing that up very specifically because of the fact of it gives you sort of the sign of the times. In 1995, there may have been an internet, but the mainstream of people didn't know about the internet. I didn't even know what the internet was until the late 90s. And nobody was really using it in commerce or business to any great degree. So there was no internet. So when I decided to take this advocacy on the road and get to the world, when I decided that going to chiropractic school was not in the cards for me, I'm not a doctor in terms of being a technician, treating people, diagnosing people, any of that stuff. That you are terrific at. You're amazing at. You have a passion for that, and you belong doing that. That's not where I belong. I'm an artist. I'm a performer. I've always been a good communicator, a writer, author. And I said, those are the skills that I bring to the table. I want to bring art into chiropractic and figure out how to communicate a message of chiropractic and make it relatable. That was my initial purpose, and that's where I found, even with the top consultants that were telling us how to go out and screen people and do talks and do all these things, I still felt like there was something missing, and I'm willing to bet even at your best times where you were getting the best stats, you probably had this little bit of a something there on it that said, we're not quite there on making it relatable. There's still like this disconnect. There's this chasm between you and somebody you're talking to out there. At least on that first contact or the first couple of contacts before they show up for that day one visit in the office. So that's where I was, but the channels didn't exist to go global. The only channels there were the major media outlets, television. Even radio didn't reach that far. There was no satellite radio at the time, and even television was limited. So there were a lot of limits. So I had to think of innovatively what channel to be on. And the only channel that I could think of was you, the chiropractic profession. And this was my premise. My plan was twofold. Get really amazing. Figure out how to make this thing relatable in a way that no one's figured out and in a way that I could contribute from what I do, from what my expertise or superpowers are. Figure out how to do it. And then teach everybody how to do it. Because if I do that, if I could help thousands of chiropractors and other wellness professionals get that message across and make it relatable the way that I could once I, step one, mastered it. And step two, get thousands doing it, because then thousands of people would get thousands more patients. And now you're talking millions and billions of people. So that was the best plan that I had. The only problem, it being so long ago, these purposes we have, it sort of gets buried back there and you get in the brunt of now doing the follow-up steps to it in making it happen. What happens is you forget what your original purpose is. So you sort of continue on in the trenches, and as you expand, that purpose can get buried. So activities you start doing no longer get measured up against that purpose. And that purpose is really what keeps everything on the rails, because those rails lead to what your goal is. And I still had this goal of like world domination of chiropractic. No joke. I want that just as badly as you do, if not more than you do. Maybe you weren't thinking global when you went to chiropractic school, and you just want the joy of helping others, maybe a few others in your lifetime. But it could be you have the passion of, well, I want to be one of the many that it takes to go global with chiropractic, which is what I'm trying to ignite in everybody now. But here, now fast forward to a few weeks ago to my epiphany. I realized my purpose was not to help you. My original purpose was not to help you. Yes, you would get helped in the process of my original purpose, but think about, based on the history that I just gave you and the original purpose that I had, it was to get chiropractic to the world. That purpose was to help people, to help the peoples of Earth find chiropractic. You already found it. I already found it, but we need to help everybody else find it. We want the 90%. Well, we want 100%. We want the combined. As you can see, that purpose isn't directly to help you. You were the channel. You were the media outlet of the time, the only media outlet. Now, you still are the media outlet, and you do fit into this, and this does help you. But by rediscovering my purpose to help the world, I realized something very profound. That it's 2019, that we not only have the internet, and we not only have so many channels of social media, but we have podcasting, we have videos, we have Instagram, and there's more than enough of them to get the job done that I originally wanted to do. And I'm only sorry that it took me close to 25 years to wake up to that fact. But look, better late than never, as they say, eh? And that's really what I'm here to talk to you about, because enter the wellness broadcast. This was within 5 minutes of that epiphany that I had. My purpose isn't to help you. My purpose is to get to the world. You were originally the channel to get there, but the channels exist to get to the world now. And I've been planning on doing a direct-to-public podcast for over a year now. As a matter of fact, I had 2 direct-to-public podcasts planned that I was going to do. I kept talking about, but it never seemed to launch. Because in all the things that were going on and all the purposes I had burning and all the clients I was coaching and all the screenings I was doing, everything was sort of equal and nothing was sorting out according to this original purpose that I knew deep down what it was, but I had forgotten about. Once I had that, everything I was doing became clear, and it went into this category or that category. This category is vital and important to make that target, and this category was maybe it'll be helpful, maybe it's superfluous, maybe it's just totally unneeded. But quickly, this direct-to-public podcast and direct-to-public campaign came front and center and to the top of the list in the column that said, things that get me to this goal. And I realized it was the most important thing out of everything I'm doing. I have been grinding away to try and help you 9 ways from Sunday, promoting it, getting clients, working with those clients, and I looked at the progress I've made, and I've made some pretty amazing inroads. I've innovated and pioneered a lot of things that have boomed a lot of areas in this industry. But when I looked at the results that I expected over a couple of decades, back when I set out to do this, I'm nowhere even close. And I said, what can one man do using the channel that I was doing? And I realized that it wasn't going to go nearly fast enough. And then I realized with going direct to public campaign, this would be the right channel to be on. In that same instant, everything becoming clear, even the show itself, which I had been working on naming and branding, the title became clear to the show, Broadcast Wellness, the Wellness Broadcast. And here we are today. So instantly, an Instagram account went up. I recorded episode 1. I created the whole show, whole cloth. I just sat down in one afternoon, got the first episode published, which was my story. I got it within a couple of days approved by iTunes. I got it onto Spotify. And within launch of it, which was May 1st, 2019, within 5 days, I had the first 6 episodes up and done. All of it following my true advocacy process, taking the public through a mindset shift. Now, how does that help you? And how does that get me to the planet? Well, I'm out there advocating chiropractic predominantly. Now, it's all of wellness, but I'm promoting chiropractic as a mindset, a way of life. Not something that you go 3 times a week for corrective care and then maintenance for the rest of your life. Not something as a therapy. Not something that's to even maintain wellness, let alone repair it when in need. But that it is a way of thinking, because I had to get back to my roots. What was my purpose? How did a chiropractor save my life? It wasn't the adjustments. Yes, the adjustments saved my life. Yes, the care saved my life. But it was this mindset in how I look at wellness that enabled me to change my life in so many ways. And that's what has to shift first. I'll never forget, certain things along the way. I was so fascinated with chiropractic in the beginning, and I think it was Dr. David Singer who always said that stinking thinking thing. And I don't know if that was his line or if he was quoting someone else, but I always remembered him saying stinking thinking. And it was not really until recently that I really got the profundity of what that is. Because we weren't on the media channels back then that we are now. And with the guff that people have, with the stuff that they think now, and now that I'm meeting them, thousands of people a year face to face and surveying them, I'm starting to realize how much pure bunk is out there. That's what stinking thinking is. Stinking thinking is the thing that debars them from even giving you the time of day on that first contact. And I realized talking to them about getting adjusted or the power of innate intelligence or nerve flow or nerve energy is not where it's at. They have to have a mind change to get them in the mood to even present that to them. And all we need to do is get them to show up in your office. Why? Because even if you suck at it, you report that you're at least 50% on the close at your report of findings. And that ain't bad. And most don't say they suck at it. Most boast that they're good at it. And we'll say 80 to let's say 98% on the close rate. So the key is to do what I'm a specialist at, which is get that person to arrive for that first visit, know why they're coming, and be very interested in the results of that visit. And that's even been neglected. So many can say, well, I at least knew that we had to get arrivals, that booking appointments and getting people to schedule with us and getting them interested wasn't enough. We have to get them to show up. But those of you who have been around a long time, who might have tried telemarketing, you complained about 2 things. I spent $3,000. I got 10 people, as promised, showing up in my office, and every single one of them said, I don't know why they're here. So you paid money, and you got people who didn't know why they were there. Those were the 2 most popular complaints I've heard from chiropractors over my time coming up through that era, pre-internet. So coming from that age and looking at it now, I understood there had to be a paradigm shift with people. So my true advocacy process is predicated upon that, upon the results that I was able to get that had nothing to do with the script I was saying. The script is incidental to what the process is that you're taking people through. And everyone being in a different state of mind and having different information that they learned when you meet them could not possibly be put cookie cutter through any campaign. And my process enables you to spot where they're at, figure out where they need to be, figure out what the distance is from that state you need them to be in, and to get them there. So they will be in that mood to do those 3 things that I keep talking about. That's what the Wellness Broadcast is now doing on a global scale, direct to public. And that's what I'm here in this video to ask your help to do. That's where I need your support. And in return, you're going to be getting my support. So I'm going to talk to you right now about the benefits of this program, and I'm going to talk to you about the different ways that you can support me. The Wellness Broadcast is going direct to public. It's based on my true advocacy process. I want to have you understand how supporting me will benefit you in the long run. I've flipped the script. I'm going after the public and I'm attaining status with the direct public. And I know that is something you'll want access to. Because think about all the marketing programs you've ever done, all the coaching programs you've ever done on getting new patients. They've all been predicated upon just get new patients in the door, get new patients in the door. And none of them have promised you anything but a system. But in the end, you had to make that system work. Whether it worked for someone else, oftentimes didn't even matter. Now, that's where I excelled with the true advocacy process because it is a true advocacy process. It follows basic principles and laws that actually work every single time if done this exact way. So that's where I innovated. That's where I pioneered. But taking it one step further, I said, look, I'm best when I go out and do it. Even when I train someone else to do it, even when they learn it and do it exactly, I'm still able to just get that little extra edge on them. And I'm so good at this, why don't I just do it for them? But I can't do it for everybody. There's only one of me. And yes, docs call me up, have me come down, do, some show or some screening coming up and whatever. But I'm not able to do it for everybody. And not everybody can afford to do that. But imagine if I was screening everybody, everywhere. Imagine how far this thing, when spread, will take it, but to be cashed in on at a local level, because I'll technically be working for every chiropractor and wellness professional on the planet without ever having to meet any of them. Now, does this mean I'm quitting coaching? No, absolutely not. There will be those who work with me, but there will be those that I never even meet, that I never even hear from, that I don't even know about, who will be taking advantage of this program. But I've created different levels of support for you to be able to support this program and cash in your own way. So what would be the different ways to support? Well, if I'm going direct to public and I'm talking about chiropractic and I'm shifting people's mindset into this necessary state of mind, through this process, you are going to be able to cash in on that fact just by getting people to listen, just by encouraging them to hear me out, just by recommending certain episodes or the show itself, getting people to subscribe and follow me. Even if in your community, you go out and you do some show or a screening or a talk, everybody you don't book, you could be getting to listen to the show and following up with them. And I'm going to do the heavy lifting for you. If you don't go out and do screenings, get your first contacts to listen to me. That will prime them. I'm not local to you, but by you having them listen to me, and by you having made that connection, they're going to connect me to you. They're going to connect what they learn to you. And this is what I built this show for, the Wellness Broadcast. So they listen to the Wellness Broadcast. I'm screening them, and you're now taking advantage of that and having a more voluminous go of it, of more potential people coming into that door and sitting in that chair for the ROF. And that's just the most basic level of support, just getting people to listen to me. Now, that helps me grow my audience. That's going to help me in a lot of ways. And I'm going to be pushing lots of stuff out to these guys. I have various topics that are very hand-selected based on my experience with this that are going to help you. Now, think about the ramifications of that. If I have a chiropractor coming on and talking about chiropractic and weight loss, and you do weight loss in your clinic, you'll be able to point out that episode to them to listen to. And those people will be able to, in turn, come to you for help locally. So there is the most basic level of support, getting people to listen to me. Now, what I would like to do to help you, and I figured out, now what can I do for you to help me do that and to get more listeners? Because yes, you're going to, by hand, be getting people. You want to get every patient. You want to get some of their referrals listening, the people you meet out in public, the people who didn't quite close on that day one, never showed up for that day one, and get those people. But how do we do it? Well, you're building a mailing list in your office, and you already have one. Emails of all your patients and past patients, and maybe your leads, your prospective patients. Maybe some people you meet out in public, you're going to get to listen to the show. Add them to your mailing list. What I'm going to do is, on the next level of support, supply you for a small monthly fee with promotion every week on the podcast. So for a low monthly fee, basically you get content from me every week with the podcast episode of the week, and I'm going to give you that mailing to put into your mailing list. And if you don't have a good mailing list program, I have all that worked out on my end, and I have a good cheap service that you can opt in to use. And that cheap service I actually have access to, and I can drop the mailing right in for you. So that part is actually a cakewalk. So for an introductory pricing, we have $19.95 for the first month, and then it goes up to $29.95. This is introductory pricing. I'm not sure how long with the show launch that's going to be, but it's going to be for a while, and probably at least the first year we're going to lock it in at that pricing structure. So you can take advantage of that. That's nothing of an investment to have me out there on the front lines. It's supporting me doing that globally. Now remember, that $20 to $30 a month you're paying to support not only gets you to promote to your mailing list something you're probably not doing anyway, and promote me talking about what you do to your audience. You can see the benefit that you'll get from that. You got to be getting some gain from that. That's a nothing investment. But on top of it, to now plug what you're doing in your practice, which you may not realize on a global scale what you're doing, but by growing your practice, by doing that, you're plugging into the world domination of this profession. That's my brainchild on this thing. So that's the secondary level of support. The first one is just get people listening to the show. I need listeners. I need to build that audience, and you can support me very easily without taking your wallet out of your pocket. That's number one way. The number two level is for you to support in this way, to promote to your list, to have me give you the promotion every single week, to do it nonstop every single week. And sometimes even special promotions that will go in between. If we had a special episode of the podcast or something and we want to do a second mailing that week, you get it included. So it's unlimited every month, but it'll be minimum once a week. You'll be getting that. Now, you'll be getting other promotion as part of that as this develops. We may have some memes that you can pop onto social media or share on social media. The Instagram account at The Wellness Broadcast you should follow, absolutely. We'll be doing this on Twitter. As this grows, we're going to have more and more resources. But that minimum level of support, get people listening, and then the next level, pay that initial month, $19.95, and then $29.95 for every month after that for at least the first year, getting those mailings out every week. And again, I have a good, cost-effective mailing service if you don't have the capacity to send those emails out. And we'll actually get it done for you. And all you have to do is go in and push the button every week to schedule it and send it out. But everything will be designed for you. You don't even need to know anything about that. And you can talk to me about that as you get hooked up with that service. No brainer. I wanted to make it a no-brainer. Now, everything else that I do, I am still available to a limited number of docs to be able to go out on the front lines and do a lot of this. Now, I center a lot of that around the New York City area, pretty much because it's my locale and also because it's definitely a good cross-section of everybody, especially corporate America. Now, the reason I'm doing corporate screenings and talks is because that represents a majority when it comes to going global. I figured out what's the greatest majority, and that would be people who work, especially the ones we want to get to first, the ones who are most qualified. Yes, of course we're going to go after them. Those are working people. They're the ones with the most problems, the most stress, and they represent the greatest number of demographic I could possibly think of that would tie into what we're trying to do. So I am still available for hire for those things. But the podcast is going to help us do it so that you don't have to resort to that. But I'm still going to be doing the coaching. Now, I've broken my masterclass down into some sub things. We're going to have some short webinars. We have the full masterclass, which is the full-blown coaching program. I still have an internship that can be done where you can come to these or send your staff to come to these New York City wellness events with me and actually intern with me. And I've even broken it down, and I have a level of support where you'll have a weekend seminar where I will either deliver it live or I can actually do it online. And this would be like more than just a webinar for an hour, hour and a half. This is like we're talking 8 hours of training on a Saturday or an all weekend long program. So we have all of these levels of support. Now, those are going to be priced out based on your individual needs and how much time needs to be spent on the project. And I'm keeping it custom for now. But as this progresses, you're going to see a video on each level of support and you're going to see pricing next to it. But I can tell you right now, as of this taping, what I mostly need is I need people to get people listening to the show. I need you, first of all, listening to the show. So you're going to subscribe to The Wellness Broadcast. Subscribe yourself. Go to any of the following platforms. It's in Apple Podcasts. So if you have an iPhone, look at the podcast app. If you don't have it, if you go to the App Store, it's an Apple product, so you just download it to your phone. And you go in Apple Podcasts, you hit the little magnifying glass for search and type in The Wellness Broadcast, and you will see The Wellness Broadcast with Frank Sardella. Tap on the show, and then tap subscribe. When you go into the show, listen to the episodes, and I'll get to that in a moment. So you can do it there, or if you have iTunes, even if you're not an Apple products user, but maybe you have iTunes on your Windows laptop, or if you're a Mac user and you just have iTunes, and yeah, you have iPhone, but you want to listen on your computer, you can go in iTunes. Go to podcasts in the iTunes store. You scroll all the way to the bottom, and at the bottom left hand of the page, there's a list of links, and one of them says podcasts, and click on that, and then go in the search field and type The Wellness Broadcast, and you will find the show there, and you can do the same thing. Click on the show, go to the show, hit subscribe, and then you will have all the episodes there to be able to listen to. The same thing will happen for Google Play. If you're an Android user, you can go into any podcast app on Android. And if you'd like to DM me on Instagram at The Wellness Broadcast, I'd be more than happy to go over with you like what types of apps that I would recommend. There's one I used to use when I was an Android user about 5 years ago called Beyond Pod. It's all one word, and it's a good free platform for listening to podcasts. Whichever one you download, go in there, find the little magnifying glass for search, and search The Wellness Broadcast. The show is on Spotify. If you go to Spotify and you go to podcasts and you type The Wellness Broadcast, now there's a lot of wellness stuff on there, so you may have to scroll until you find the show. But it's there. Again, any help that you need, reach out to me. You can DM me on Instagram at The Wellness Broadcast. If you're not on Instagram, then frank@screeningexperts.com is the email address. Email me directly and ask me questions. So, step one, subscribe to the podcast through any one of those channels. By the way, you can go to the website and listen to the episodes there. The website is thewellnessbroadcast.com. Every single episode has its own page, and when you go to the website, you'll see the episodes listed right on the homepage. You can scroll through them and look at them. Now, I would recommend you listen in sequence and try to listen to at least season 1, starting with the trailer. The trailer is 5 minutes of me explaining what the show is all about. This is what the people you're getting to listen to the show are going to first hear, or you want them to first hear, because you want them to understand why they're listening. The season 1, episode 1 is my story, and then I just get right into it. I get into things like posture. I get into innate intelligence a bit. I get into imbalances that occur in the body. I get into all the basics that I start priming them. And again, underlying all this is this true advocacy process and this lifetime patient ladder that I have found that exist out there. And I'm using that as my guide the entire time. And at the higher levels of support, that's something you can learn to do in your own practice. So that's step 1. I should mention here that the highest level of support, by the way, comes with my masterclass, and it involves me producing a podcast show for you as well. That's why I started Broadcast Wellness initially. Initially, I thought, well, it's going to run parallel to Screening Experts, and I'm going to produce podcasts for certain chiropractors and wellness professionals, which I am. And I am the creator and producer of many shows for many different doctors and professionals. But you will still be able to do that. The good news is, and again, I'm trying to give you as much power as I can, I've absorbed my masterclass content and pricing right into the podcast. So as I'm producing your show, I'm coaching you through every episode, and every episode becomes a coaching session recording that you can play over and over, your staff can play over and over, that's in your own voice. So you can follow your own example from there forward, coached by me. So that's the highest level of support. But first, listen to the show. Subscribe to the show and listen to the episodes. Get to know it very well and get recommending it. That's the first level support. That will cost you nothing except a little bit of time. And then the next level, the second tier of support, all I want you to do is get in and pay $19.95 for that first month, and then $29.95 for the subsequent months to get the content from me and the help promoting those episodes to your audience. And by doing that, you will be helping yourself, and you'll be helping me, and you'll be helping chiropractic and wellness on a global scale. And that's something we all want. So I need you to do that. And as part of that, if you need help through a email list service, an awesome service that has great expert designed stuff in there, very user-friendly and extremely cheap, you're going to DM me at The Wellness Broadcast on Instagram or email me, Frank at Screening Experts, to help you hook up with that service. But I'd really like to get a lot of clinics supporting me with that level. That's going to be one of the mainline supports of this show. I'm looking for different areas of support. Yes, there are going to be other supporters and sponsors, people that believe in the show and really want to see this go because they see the value in it for all of us, are already sponsoring the show. But these levels of sponsorship are what help me. Yes, the coaching, the seminars, the masterclass, the podcast production, yes, all that helps me. That gives me fuel to keep this thing going. But you can start by minimally listening and downloading the show yourself, subscribing, getting others to do so. Minimum. Costs you nothing. Then $20 for the first month, $29.95 for every subsequent month for at least the first year. Getting content out to your lists. That's a no-brainer for marketing. Where can you get content every single week, minimum once a week, for $30? So that's going to help me. That's going to help you. And you see the synergy I'm creating here. I'm still helping you. Even though I said that really messed up thing that I realized I don't want to help you. I didn't mean it how it came out. This is my chance to really get to do what I wanted to do when that chiropractor gave me that miracle and I threw those meds in the garbage and never looked back and lived a wellness lifestyle and have helped thousands do the same in the meantime. But those thousands are a drop in the bucket compared to how many are out there. And chiropractic is it's coming up on a renaissance right now. You got to see what's happening in Europe if you haven't been following it, and South America. I've been friending so many chiropractic students and people fresh out of chiropractic school in those areas. There's a surge right now happening. So we're about to explode planet-wide, and I want to tie everybody together. And this crusade that I'm on is about purpose. That's what it is. And as soon as I made it about purpose and not about, well, I need to keep my coaching practice alive and I've got to close a certain amount of packages a week to be able to do that just to keep my purpose going, I flipped the script on it. I'm just going direct to public and we'll let the thing fund itself as we go. And that's why I need your help. And I want you to believe in that because I'm here to help you locally boom. Because I need you to boom now. Now I need you to do your part, and your part is to boom that clinic in any means possible. And I'm going to give you as much power for as little money as I can. And what I'm giving you is the power that what you do locally plugs into a global campaign. You are now a constituent part of a global movement, and I need your help to do that. So please support this. Go to broadcastwellness.com/support to be able to grab your level of support that you can do right now and help me make this global impact and help me help you make a local impact that's going to boom you beyond where you thought you can be, because now I have your back in many more ways than one. And let's face it, I don't know any marketing company that's going to be able to do that for you for now, because what we've been missing in all this marketing we've been on a tangent doing. And trust me, I got to get back onto Will Work for Patients. I've been a little off that for a few weeks. I've got 5 or 6 episodes in the hopper I haven't even published yet, just because I've been on this, because I can't focus on practice marketing right at this second. Yes, I'm going to be back to that. Please listen to Will Work for Patients. Definitely listen to and support that show. But my point is, I even realized marketing is never going to help us with global domination. Pharma's already spending the big bucks to monopolize that way. We have something no one else has. And I'm here to make sure that we all work together to get that message out. And even if your views differ from one of your brethren there, and you practice different techniques or you have slightly different philosophies, the basics of innate intelligence are the same, and that's all I want to do to get out there. And that is the unifying factor that will tie all of you together. even those of you who disagree with each other, can't disagree with that and can get behind me. There's not one single chiropractor or wellness professional who couldn't get behind this, and I'm going to make sure of it. I'm going to make sure that this thing flies in every way possible. I invite you to reach out to me directly with questions. Again, DM me on Instagram at The Wellness Broadcast, or email me directly, frank@screeningexperts.com. And I will catch you on the front lines of a global movement. Thank you. You've been listening to The Wellness Broadcast, a Broadcast Wellness Network production. Copyright 2019. All rights reserved. Executive producer, Frank Sardella. For more information, visit thewellnessbroadcast.com and follow on Instagram at The Wellness Broadcast.